Miles Kristen reporting for Wisconsin International Radio here in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Students for Liberty Regional Conference. Here talking to authors such as Jeffrey Tucker and Students for Liberty.
So I think the Trump administration has played people, and the entire idea behind Trump in 2016 and his campaign was that it's going to be crystal clear politics. He's not a politician, but I think that he has deceived people. I think people are starting to understand that, and I think that it is finally coming out that the Trump administration is all about deception, and it will continue to be about deception.
I am a state chair for Young Americans for Liberty in the state of Minnesota. What brought me here today is I have a number of connections in the Liberty movement, and some of my friends in SFL invited me to come to this event, and that's why I'm here today.
What's an issue you're concerned about?
Right now I'm concerned about economic policy. I think that our tax system is very broken and that we need to do a lot of change in our legislatures to fix that.
And what do you see as a way of going forward?
I think we need to simplify the tax code and reduce taxes. We need people to be investing in the economy, and we got to get more jobs rolling around.
I think libertarianism has to imagine the possibility of anarchy, which is not to say that we have a plan for getting there, or that we're sure it's going to create some sort of utopia. But I would say that every good libertarian tries to imagine how the world works in the absence of power. Right? So, like Hayek was once asked the question, what would happen to society if the state were abolished tomorrow? And you know his answer was very interesting. He said, not really anything. Not really that much. So, and that's a pretty good answer, I think.
Reason Magazine is the magazine for free minds and free markets. We are the quintessential libertarian cultural political magazine. We cover everything from politics in Washington, D.C., state politics, regulatory issues, things like that. And then on the more fun side, on the cultural side, we write about sex and robots and drugs and why people should be free to make their own decisions about the things that they do, with their lives and to their own bodies, free from government coercion. So I think we cover a wide range of issues, honestly, for a small publication, and I think we occupy a unique and an important part of the media landscape, and I think we cover a lot of issues that get missed in the mainstream media, or that get misinterpreted either by the mainstream media or by the left or right, and try to put that classical liberal, that libertarian perspective on things that people don't hear all the time anywhere else.
In Venezuela right now, the students, we are protesting every single day. We have been protesting the whole year. Why? Because we don't have freedom, because we don't have human rights violations, we don't have human rights, and because in Venezuela we have a regime who is trying to impose communism and a dictatorship to the whole country. In Venezuela right now we are starving to death. In Venezuela right now we have no opportunities, and we don't have justice in Venezuela. So why we are here and why we are fighting? Because right now our people are suffering. I have friends who have been killed by the regime. I have friends who have been in jail by the regime. So that's why we need to fight, and that's why we will make a change in Venezuela.
The Obama administration advertised itself one way and behaved another. So it was always advertising itself as multicultural, defending minority rights, universalist, in favor of peace, and humanitarianism, whatever you actually look at it. It was a warmongering, it perpetuated a lot of the most terrible policies of the Bush administration. And then Trump comes along, and he's a bully, he's a protectionist, he's a nativist, he's an authoritarian. But there's not that much difference between what Trump did and what Obama has done in practice, really. I don't really think there's much difference, unless you want to put a lot of premium and value on sort of advertising. I think the U.S. is more popular around the world with Obama, and maybe that counts for something. I don't really know.
You look at the way in which people are responding to the two major political parties, and to the extent that those two parties are collapsing. They're no longer the monolithic ideas or the monolithic entities that they once were. I think people are desperate for something different, and sometimes that comes off in sort of an ugly way, and we see that in events like what happened in Charlottesville and with the rise of the alt-right. And you see the same thing on the left. You see this sort of collectivist identity, and it's a very loud thing. But I think the silent majority of people out there are people who want government out of their lives. They don't want government telling them what decisions to make about their health care or what decisions to make about what school they send their kids to. And that's the opportunity for the true liberals, for the classical liberals, for the libertarians to say, look, government has had their chance. They've gotten so many of these things wrong, and they can't predict the future. They can't tell us what's going to happen next. So that's only individuals can do that. Only individuals making private arrangements, private agreements. That's where you get the sort of mutually beneficial growth that drives us forward.
In Venezuela, nationally, in the Republic, we had the students protesting. We had the students making pressure. And here internationally, we are talking to organizations, we're talking to governments, we're talking to any institution that can help us to provide the pressure that we need from the international community. We need the pressure from the international community, and we need them to say loud and clear that the Maduro regime is a dictatorship, that the Maduro regime is a regime that violates the human rights, that tortures. I have friends who are being tortured in the jails of Venezuela simply because of their political belief. So that's the organization that we have right now. Inside the country, protests, outside the country, making an international coalition to demand justice in Venezuela.
Every time we find fascism, you're going to find communism. Whenever you find communism, you're going to find fascism. They just go together. I mean, to me, these are just mirror images. I mean, the alt-right, Charlottesville marchers, and the bandana-clad, smashers of windows, and they're actually a dangerous bunch. I mean, yeah, it's just the rise of intolerance in general. I mean, I don't hang around in lefty circles, but my center-left friends are terrified of Antifa. I mean, my center-left friends feel about Antifa the same way National Review conservatives feel about the rise of the alt-right. They find them disgusting, distorted images of the worst aspects of their ranks that have been elevated into a kind of a primacy and a public presence by virtue of their extremism and their audacious public displays of violence.
Socialism is the reason in South America, is the reason that we don't progress in South America. In Latin America, we have, for example, my country, we have oil, we have gold, we have natural resources, we have great people, but we live in socialism. So we live in a country in which people don't have the opportunity to be great. We live in a country in which people don't have the opportunity to really form a family, start a business, and to really grow and be independent. So socialism is the reason that Venezuela and other Latin American countries are not great, because we have all the things that a country should have in order to be great.
The progress of humanity needs your heart, your ideas, your mind, your love, your passion. It's all threatened right now. It's threatened from the left and the right. We need you. History needs you. Every human being who's not yet free desperately needs your hard work, your thinking, your writing. There is something that you can do to help this great cause. It's liberty that built civilization in the past. It's going to make the world more beautiful in the future. But only if we act, only if we understand, and only if you throw yourself into the great intellectual battle. Thank you very much for listening to me today.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to support videos like this, please go to the link attached and donate $1. Thank you.